I convinced my dad to cut out my brother from his will after finding proof he's been stealing from our parents for years. It started 3 months ago when my mom called me crying. She said $500 disappeared from her purse. My brother Kevin blamed it on the cleaning lady they hired last month. Dad fired her the next day. 2 weeks later, Dad mentioned his golf clubs were missing from the garage, the expensive Callaway set he bought himself for retirement. Kevin said someone probably broke in through the side door that doesn't lock right. Dad didn't even file a police report. I didn't think much about it until I came over for Sunday dinner and saw Kevin's new gaming setup in the basement. Dual monitors, fancy LED lights, the whole thing. He works part-time at Best Buy stocking shelves. There's no way he afforded that. I started paying attention after that. Every time I visited, something was different. Mom's pearl necklace she always wore? Gone. Dad's coin collection he kept in his office? Disappeared. Kevin always had some explanation. Mom lost the necklace at church. Dad probably moved the coins and forgot. Last month, I stopped by on a Tuesday to drop off groceries. Nobody was home except Kevin. He was in Dad's office, door half open. I watched him take cash from Dad's desk drawer and stuff it in his pocket. He didn't see me standing in the hallway. I didn't say anything. I waited. The next week, I came over early before anyone woke up. I installed a cheap security camera in the living room bookshelf, hidden behind Dad's old encyclopedias that nobody touches. Ordered it off Amazon for $30. 3 days later, the camera caught Kevin taking Mom's emergency cash from the cookie jar in the kitchen. $200. He counted it twice before shoving it in his backpack. I downloaded the video to my laptop. Then I checked Dad's bank statements online. He gave me the password months ago when his eyesight got bad and he needed help paying bills. There were ATM withdrawals I knew Dad didn't make. Small amounts, $50 or $75, always from the machine near Kevin's apartment. 12 withdrawals in 2 months. Dad's debit card never left his wallet, but Kevin helped him set up his online banking last year. I printed everything. Bank statements, screenshots from the camera, dates and times. Put it all in a folder. Then I went through the house when Kevin wasn't there. Found Mom's pearl necklace in his bedroom closet, buried in a shoebox under his winter clothes. Found Dad's vintage watch, the one from his Navy days, wrapped in a sock in Kevin's dresser. I took pictures of everything exactly where I found it. The folder got thick. I added receipts I found in Kevin's car for the gaming computer, a new TV, concert tickets. Added up the stolen cash, and it was over $4,000 in 6 months. Last Sunday, I asked Dad if we could talk alone. Told him to bring his reading glasses. We sat in his office and I opened the folder. Showed him the video first. Watched his face go white when he saw Kevin taking cash from the cookie jar. Then the bank statements with the highlighted withdrawals. Then the photos of Mom's necklace and his watch in Kevin's room. Dad didn't say anything for 5 minutes. Just kept flipping through the papers. Then he stood up, walked to his filing cabinet, and pulled out his will. The one he had the lawyer write up 2 years ago that splits everything 50-50 between me and Kevin. He grabbed a pen from his desk and started writing Kevin's new inheritance amount. $0. He was signing his initials when I noticed something in one of the bank statements I'd missed before. The ATM withdrawals had 2 different locations, some near Kevin's apartment, but others across town near my sister Julie's place. Dad saw me staring at it and grabbed the paper. His hands started shaking worse than before. Julie was the one who suggested hiring that cleaning lady Mom's money first disappeared from. Then Dad said the words I didn't want to hear about who else knew his PIN number. Julie helped me set it up too, same day as Kevin. I felt my stomach drop. Dad looked at me with these hollow eyes. His face aged 10 years in 10 seconds. He set down the pen and just stared at the wall behind me. "Both of them?" he whispered. "Both my kids?" I wanted to say something, but I couldn't. I just sat there watching my 72-year-old father crumble in his leather chair. "Dad," I started, but he held up his hand. "Don't. Just don't." He pulled out his phone and scrolled through something. His face got harder with every swipe. Then he turned the screen toward me. "Look at this." It was his Venmo history. Julie had been requesting money from him for months. 20 here, 50 there. Always with cute messages like gas money for visiting you guys or picking up Mom's prescription. Dad had approved every single one without thinking. "I never even opened them," he said. Just saw Julie's name and hit accept. I counted the requests. Over 60 in the past 4 months. The amounts ranged from $15 to $120. It added up to over $2,000. But that wasn't the worst part. Dad showed me his credit card statement next. There was a recurring charge for something called Stream Life Premium. $19.99 a month. Dad had no idea what it was. I pulled out my phone and looked it up. It was a subscription service for live streaming equipment, the kind gamers and influencers use. Dad doesn't even know how to work his TV remote. When did this start? I asked. He checked the statement. 8 months ago, right around when Julie moved into that new apartment. The one she said she could afford because she got a raise at work. I called the credit card company right there in Dad's office. Put it on speaker. The customer service rep confirmed the subscription was registered to a Julie Brennan at an address across town. Julie's address. Dad just sat there shaking his head. His lips were pressed together so tight they went white. "Get your mother," he said finally. "Don't tell her why." I found Mom in the kitchen working on a crossword puzzle. Her reading glasses were sliding down her nose like always. She looked so peaceful sitting there with her cup of tea. "Mom, Dad needs you in his office." She looked up and saw my face. Whatever she saw there made her set down her pencil without asking questions. The three of us sat in that cramped office. Dad spread out the evidence on his desk like a detective in some crime show. Mom picked up the photos of her pearl necklace first. Her hands started trembling. "This was in Kevin's room?" she asked. I nodded. She set the photo down and picked up the bank statements. Went through them one by one. Her jaw tightened with each page. Then she saw the Venmo history and the credit card charges. She looked at Dad. "Julie, too?" Dad couldn't even look at her. He just nodded. Mom stood up so fast her chair scraped against the floor. She walked out of the office without saying a word. I heard the back door slam a minute later. Dad and I sat in silence. Through the window, I could see Mom standing in the backyard, arms crossed, staring at the old oak tree where we used to have a tire swing. "I need to think," Dad said. "Come back tomorrow. Bring everything." I gathered up the folder and headed for the door. Before I left, Dad called my name. "Nolan." I turned around. "Thank you for telling me." His voice cracked on the last word. I nodded and left before either of us started crying. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept running through scenarios in my head. What if I was wrong about Julie? What if there was some explanation? I pulled up my laptop and logged into Dad's bank account again. Started going through the statements more carefully this time. That's when I found the checks. 4 checks made out to cash. Each one for $500. Each one with Dad's signature that looked just slightly off. The loops were too small. The slant was wrong. Someone had been forging Dad's signature. I cross-referenced the dates with my calendar. Each check was cashed on a day when I knew Kevin had been at the house. But the checks were deposited at a bank branch near Julie's apartment. They were working together. My brother and sister had been running a coordinated theft operation against our parents for months. I screenshot everything and added it to my folder. The next morning I got to my parents' house early. Dad was already up, sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee that looked like it had gone cold hours ago. He hadn't slept either. I showed him the forged checks. He picked one up and held it close to his face. Studied his own signature like he'd never seen it before. "I didn't sign this. I know." He set the check down and looked at me. Really looked at me. The way he used to when I was a kid and he was trying to figure out if I was telling the truth. "Why didn't you do this?" he asked. "You had access to everything. You could have taken whatever you wanted." The question caught me off guard. "Because it's not mine," I said. "Because you and Mom worked your whole lives for this stuff. Because that's not who I am." Dad nodded slowly. Something shifted in his expression. Pride, maybe. Or just relief. "I know," he said. "I've always known. I just needed to hear you say it." Mom came downstairs then. Her eyes were red, but her face was set in that determined way she gets when she's made up her mind about something. "I want them here today," she said. "Both of them. I want to look them in the eyes." Dad started to protest, but Mom cut him off. "No, Walter. I carried those two for 9 months each. I changed their diapers. I drove them to school. I paid for their mistakes over and over again. I deserve to hear them explain this to my face. Dad looked at me. I shrugged. It was Mom's call. Fine, he said. But Nolan stays. He's the only one who bothered to notice what was happening. Mom called Kevin first, told him to come over for lunch, that she was making his favorite pot roast. He said he'd be there by noon. Then she called Julie. Same story. Julie said she had plans but could probably swing by around 1. The trap was set. I spent the morning organizing the evidence into 2 separate folders. One for Kevin, one for Julie. Each folder had photos, bank statements, screenshots, and printed timestamps from the security camera footage. At 11:45, Kevin's beat-up Honda pulled into the driveway. He walked in without knocking, like he always did. Big smile on his face. He was wearing new sneakers, the expensive kind that cost more than a week's pay at Best Buy. Hey, something smells good, he called out. Mom was standing in the living room. Dad was in his armchair. I was sitting on the couch with both folders on the coffee table. Kevin's smile faltered when he saw our faces. What's going on? Sit down, Kevin, Dad said. Kevin glanced at me, then at the folders. His face went pale. What is this? Sit. Down. Kevin dropped onto the love seat across from me. His legs started bouncing immediately. Classic nervous tell. He'd done it since we were kids whenever he got caught doing something wrong. Mom stayed standing, arms crossed. She looked like a judge about to deliver a sentence. We know, she said simply. Know what? Don't, I said. Just don't. I opened Kevin's folder and pulled out the security camera screenshot, the one showing him clearly pocketing cash from the cookie jar. Timestamp in the corner, his face perfectly visible. Kevin stared at it for a long moment. His legs stopped bouncing. That's... I can explain. Then explain, Dad said. His voice was ice cold. I needed the money. Just temporarily. I was going to pay it back. Pay it back? Mom laughed bitterly. With what? Your part-time job stocking shelves? Kevin's face flushed red. I've been looking for better work. You know the economy is bad right now. The economy didn't steal my mother's pearl necklace, I said. I pulled out the photo showing it hidden in his closet. Or Dad's Navy watch. Kevin looked at the photos. Then he looked at me with pure hatred in his eyes. You went through my stuff? I found stolen property. There's a difference. This is bullshit. I'm not going to sit here and be interrogated like some criminal. He stood up to leave. Dad's voice stopped him cold. If you walk out that door, you will never walk back in. Kevin froze. His hand was on the door handle. I've already changed my will, Dad continued. You're getting nothing. 0. But if you sit down and tell us the truth, maybe we can figure out some way forward. Maybe. If you leave now, we're done. Forever. Kevin stood there for a long moment. I could see the calculation happening behind his eyes. Finally, he let go of the door handle and sat back down. Fine, he muttered. What do you want to know? Before Dad could answer, there was a knock at the door. Julie. I got up and opened it. My sister was standing there in yoga pants and a designer jacket I knew cost more than her monthly rent. She had her phone in one hand and a Starbucks cup in the other. Hey, Nolan, she said breezily. What's with the ambush? Mom's being super weird. Then she looked past me and saw Kevin, saw the folders on the table, saw our parents' faces. Her Starbucks cup slipped from her hand and splattered all over the porch. What the fuck? She whispered. Come in, Julie. We've been waiting for you. She didn't move. Her eyes were darting between Kevin and me, trying to figure out how much we knew. Jules, Kevin said from the living room. His voice was shaky. They know everything. That broke her paralysis. She pushed past me into the house, leaving her spilled coffee on the porch. What did you tell them? She demanded, getting in Kevin's face. Nothing yet. They had cameras. They found the stuff. What stuff? What cameras? I closed the front door and walked back to my spot on the couch, picked up Julie's folder and set it in front of her. Your folder, I said. Kevin already has his. Julie grabbed it like it might bite her, started flipping through the pages. Her face went from angry to scared to something I'd never seen before. Desperation. This isn't... I didn't... She looked at Mom. Mom, you have to understand. I was struggling. My apartment is so expensive and my job barely covers my bills. I just needed a little help. So you asked for help, Mom said. 63 Venmo requests. I have them all documented. That was just small stuff, just like gas money and groceries. And the credit card? Dad asked. The subscription I've been paying for 8 months? Julie's mouth opened and closed. She had nothing. I pulled out the forged checks. And these? Julie grabbed them. Her hands were shaking. Kevin did these. I just cashed them for him. Kevin's head snapped toward her. Are you serious right now? You're throwing me under the bus? You did forge them. I just took them to the bank because you were too scared to do it yourself. I only forged them because you said it would be fine. You said Dad never checks his checkbook. And suddenly they were both screaming at each other, pointing fingers, blaming, all the careful coordination crumbling as they tried to save themselves. Mom watched them with an expression I'll never forget, like she was seeing them clearly for the first time. Enough. Dad's voice cut through the chaos. Both Kevin and Julie went silent. I don't care who did what, Dad said slowly. You both stole from us. Your mother and I worked 40 years to build this life. We raised you, fed you, paid for your mistakes more times than I can count. And this is how you repay us? Dad, Kevin started. I'm not finished. Dad stood up from his chair. He moved slowly, like every joint hurt. He walked to the fireplace mantel where our family photos sat in a row, picked up our last Christmas photo, the one from 2 years ago where we're all wearing matching sweaters that Mom insisted on. This family, Dad said, looking at the photo. I thought this was real. I thought we had something. He set the photo face down on the mantel. I was wrong. Dad walked back to his chair but didn't sit. He stood behind it, gripping the back like he needed something to hold on to. Here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to my lawyer. I'm changing my will. Neither of you are getting a single cent of my estate when I die. Everything goes to Nolan and to charity. Julie let out a strangled noise. You can't do that. I can do whatever I want. It's my money, my house, my decision. But what about... Julie's voice cracked. What about the house? You always said we'd inherit the house. The house goes to Nolan. He's the only one who's proven he can be trusted with it. Kevin jumped to his feet. This is such bullshit. Nolan was always your favorite. He could never do anything wrong. Golden child Nolan. I stayed quiet. Let Kevin bury himself. Golden child. Mom laughed, but there was no humor in it. Nolan is the only one who bothered to check on us. The only one who noticed something was wrong. The only one who didn't steal from his own parents. We were struggling, Julie shouted. Do you know how hard it is out there? Everything is expensive. We're drowning. Then you ask for help, I said. You don't steal. You don't forge checks. You don't take advantage of your elderly parents. Don't call them elderly, Kevin snapped. They're not that old. I'm 72, Dad said. Your mother is 69. We're not going to be around forever. And I'll be damned if I spend my final years being robbed by my own children. The room went quiet. Julie started crying. The kind of ugly crying that makes your whole face red and splotchy. Kevin just stood there clenching and unclenching his fists. What about the police? Kevin asked finally. Are you going to report us? Mom and Dad exchanged a look. Some silent communication that only comes from 50 years of marriage. No, Mom said. Not unless you give us a reason to. Julie looked up, hope flickering in her swollen eyes. But, Mom continued, there are conditions. Anything, Julie said quickly. We'll do anything. First, you return everything. The necklace, the watch, the coins, everything you took. Kevin nodded frantically. Done. I'll bring it all back today. Second, you pay back every dollar. I don't care how long it takes. We'll set up a payment plan with receipts. Julie's face fell. That'll take years. Should have thought about that before you stole from us. Third, and this is non-negotiable, you don't set foot in this house without Nolan present. Either of you. If you want to visit, you call Nolan first. He decides if and when you can come. Kevin's face twisted with anger. So he's our babysitter now? This is ridiculous. Dad's voice went cold. It's this or the police. Kevin, your choice. Kevin looked at me with pure venom in his eyes, but he nodded. Fine. Julie just kept crying. And finally, Mom said, you will apologize right now. Look me in the eyes and tell me you're sorry for what you did. Julie went first. She stood up on shaky legs, walked to Mom and hugged her. I'm so sorry, Mom. I was just so scared and stressed and I made terrible choices. I love you. I'm so sorry." Mom stood stiff as a board. Didn't hug back. Just nodded. Kevin's turn was worse. He couldn't look Mom in the eyes. Stared at the floor and mumbled something about being sorry. "Look at me," Mom demanded. Kevin raised his eyes. His jaw was tight with resentment. "I'm sorry I disappointed you," he said through gritted teeth. "That's not an apology. That's an excuse." Kevin took a breath. His hands were shaking. "I'm sorry I stole from you. I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I violated your trust. Is that what you want to hear?" Mom studied him for a long moment. "No," she said finally. "I wanted to hear that you actually meant it, but I don't think you do." Kevin didn't respond. We all knew she was right. The next few hours were brutal. Kevin drove home and came back with 2 garbage bags full of stuff. Mom's necklace, Dad's watch, the coin collection, minus a few pieces he claimed he'd already sold, old jewelry, some cash he had hidden in his room, random items from around the house that we hadn't even noticed were missing. Julie made excuses about needing to go to her apartment to get stuff. I drove her there. No way was I letting her out of my sight. Her apartment was nice. Too nice for someone who claimed to be struggling. Giant TV on the wall, new furniture, a closet full of clothes with tags still on them, all funded by our parents. We loaded up my truck with everything she'd taken. 2 boxes of items she swore she'd bought but couldn't produce receipts for. Some cash from her sock drawer. Dad's old military medals she claimed she was keeping safe for him. When we got back to the house, Mom and Dad were sitting at the kitchen table. They looked exhausted, defeated. Kevin was gone. Mom said he'd dropped off the stuff and left without saying goodbye. Julie set her boxes on the floor and stood there awkwardly. Can I use the bathroom before I go?" Mom nodded toward the hallway. Julie disappeared. While she was gone, Dad pulled me aside. "Thank you, Nolan." "For what?" "For being honest with us. For caring enough to pay attention. I know this wasn't easy for you either." "No," I said. "It wasn't." Dad put his hand on my shoulder, the same way he did when I was a kid and he was proud of me for something. "We're going to need your help," he said. "Going forward, managing things, making sure this never happens again." "I know, Dad. Your mother and I talked. We want to add you to all our accounts, give you power of attorney, just in case something happens." I nodded. It was the logical next step, also the saddest. I never wanted this responsibility. I just wanted a normal family. Julie came out of the bathroom. Her eyes were red, but she'd fixed her makeup. Trying to hold on to some dignity, I guess. "I'm going to go," she said. Mom didn't get up, didn't hug her, just nodded. "Call Nolan when you have the first payment ready." Julie looked at me with something like pleading in her eyes. I kept my face neutral. "Okay," she said quietly. "I will." She walked to the front door, paused with her hand on the handle. "I really am sorry," she said without turning around. "I know you don't believe me, but I am." Then she was gone. The house felt different after they left. Quieter, emptier, like something had been cut out of it. Mom started cleaning up, putting away the folders, wiping down surfaces that didn't need wiping, staying busy so she wouldn't have to think. Dad went to his office and closed the door. I heard him on the phone with his lawyer, scheduling an appointment for the next morning. I helped Mom with dinner even though none of us were hungry. We ate in silence. The pot roast she'd made as bait for Kevin sat untouched on the counter. Around 8 o'clock, my phone buzzed. Group text from Kevin. "This isn't over. You think you're so perfect, but you're not. I'm going to find something on you, Nolan. Something that proves you're just as bad as us. Then we'll see who Dad's favorite is." I showed the text to Dad. He read it. His face hardened. "Keep that," he said. "Save everything he sends you. You think he'll actually try something?" I think Kevin is desperate, and desperate people do stupid things. He was right. Over the next 2 weeks, Kevin tried everything. First, he called my job. Told my boss I'd been stealing from our parents and framing him. My boss called me into his office to ask about it. I showed him the folder, the evidence. My boss believed me and sent Kevin's number to HR for harassment documentation. Then Kevin started showing up at my apartment, pounding on my door at midnight, shouting accusations through the walls. My neighbors complained. I filed a police report. Kevin got a warning. Next, he tried to get into our parents' house when I wasn't there. Showed up on a Tuesday afternoon claiming he'd left something important in his old room. Mom almost let him in before she remembered the rules and called me. I drove over and found Kevin in the driveway, arguing with Mom through the screen door. "Just let me in for 5 minutes," he was saying. "I need to get my stuff." "You already got your stuff," I said, walking up behind him. Kevin spun around. His face was blotchy and unshaven. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Back off, Nolan. This is between me and Mom." "No, it's not. You heard the rules. Screw the rules. This is my family." Mom's voice came through the screen door. "Kevin, please leave. You're scaring me." Something in Kevin's face shifted. He looked at Mom like he was seeing her for the first time. Then he looked at me. "Fine," he said quietly. "But this isn't over." He got in his car and drove away. I stayed at the house until midnight, just in case. Julie was different. She actually seemed sorry. 2 weeks after the confrontation, she called me, asked if she could buy me coffee. I agreed, mostly out of curiosity. We met at a diner near my apartment. Julie looked different, thinner, dark circles under her eyes. No designer clothes this time, just jeans and an old sweater. "Thanks for meeting me," she said. "What do you want, Julie?" She wrapped her hands around her coffee cup, stared at the steam rising off it. "I want you to know that I'm getting help. I started seeing a therapist. We've been talking about why I did what I did. And why did you?" Julie took a shaky breath. "I was jealous," she said, "of you, of how easy everything seemed for you." "Easy?" I laughed. "Nothing about my life has been easy. I know that now. But when we were kids, it felt like you got all the attention. You were the smart one, the responsible one. Kevin and I were always screwing up and you were always perfect. I wasn't perfect. I just didn't steal from our parents." Julie flinched. I know. I'm not making excuses. I'm trying to explain. The therapist says I have to understand why I made the choices I made before I can change." She pulled out an envelope and slid it across the table. "First payment," she said. $300. It's all I could manage this month. I picked up extra shifts at work. I took the envelope, opened it, counted the cash. "This is a start," I said. "I know it's going to take forever to pay everything back, but I will. I promise." I looked at my sister, really looked at her. She seemed genuinely broken. Maybe for the first time in her life, she was facing real consequences. "Okay," I said. "I'll tell Mom and Dad. Will they ever forgive me?" "I don't know, Julie. That's up to them. What about you? Will you forgive me?" I thought about it. About all the years I'd spent trying to keep the family together while she and Kevin were tearing it apart. All the holidays I'd organized, all the birthday dinners I'd planned, all the times I'd covered for them when they screwed up. "I'll think about it," I said finally. "That's the best I can offer right now." Julie nodded. Her eyes were wet. "That's fair," she whispered. "That's fair." We finished our coffee in silence. Kevin didn't make it 2 months before he did something really stupid. Dad called me on a Thursday night. His voice was shaking. Someone broke into the house. I was at their place in 15 minutes. The side door was smashed in. The one Kevin had claimed didn't lock right. Glass everywhere. The alarm had been triggered, but whoever did it was gone by the time the police arrived. Nothing valuable was taken. The TV was still there. Mom's remaining jewelry untouched. But Dad's office had been ransacked. Filing cabinets emptied. Papers everywhere. They were looking for the will, Dad said grimly. The police took a report, dusted for fingerprints, asked if we knew anyone who might want to break in. Dad and I exchanged a look. "We have some ideas," I said. The fingerprints came back the next day. Kevin's. He'd left them all over the filing cabinet. He was arrested at his apartment, booked for breaking and entering. The police found Dad's original will in his backpack. He'd planned to destroy it before Dad could officially change it with the lawyer. Mom cried when we got the news. Not because she was sad for Kevin, because she was sad about what he'd become. The court date was 3 weeks later. Kevin showed up in a wrinkled suit that didn't fit right. He looked scared, small, not like my brother at all. The judge wasn't sympathetic. Breaking into your elderly parents' home to steal legal documents? That's not a misdemeanor, young man. That's felony burglary. Kevin got 18 months, reduced to 12 with good behavior. Mom and Dad didn't attend the sentencing. They couldn't. Julie did. She sat in the back of the courtroom and cried the whole time. When Kevin was led away in handcuffs, he looked at her with so much hatred. "This is your fault," he mouthed. "You got me into this." Julie just shook her head, still crying. After Kevin went to prison, things settled down. Julie made her monthly payments. Never missed one. She got promoted at work. Started dating someone who seemed decent. Slowly, carefully, she started rebuilding her relationship with our parents. It took time. A lot of time. Mom didn't trust her alone in the house for almost a year, but eventually, things got better. Dad's will was finalized. I got the house. I got most of the money. Julie got a small amount, contingent on her continued payments and good behavior. Kevin got nothing. Kevin tried to contact me from prison a few times. Long, rambling letters about how he was innocent, how I'd framed him, how the family had turned against him. I never responded. When he got out after 10 months, he didn't come home, moved to another state. Last I heard, he was working at a warehouse somewhere. Never married, no kids, just alone with his bitterness. Mom passed away 3 years later, peacefully, in her sleep. Dad followed 6 months after. They say that happens sometimes with couples who've been together that long. One goes and the other just doesn't want to stay without them. I inherited the house like they wanted. Moved in with my wife and our 2 kids. Julie comes over for Sunday dinners sometimes. She's different now. Quieter, more thoughtful. We're not close like we used to be, but we're something. Family, I guess. What's left of it. Kevin didn't come to either funeral. I don't know if he even knows they're gone. I found a letter in Dad's desk after he passed. It was addressed to me, written in his shaky handwriting. "Nolan, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I wanted to thank you one more time for everything you did, for protecting us, for telling us the truth even when it was hard, for being the son I could count on. I'm sorry you had to carry that burden. You deserved better siblings, better circumstances, but I hope you know that your mother and I were so proud of you. Every single day. Take care of the house. Take care of yourself. And if Kevin ever comes around wanting forgiveness, that's your choice. I won't tell you what to do. But remember that some people never change. They just get better at hiding who they really are. I love you, son. I always did. Dad." I still have that letter. Keep it in the top drawer of Dad's old desk, which is now my desk. Sometimes, when the house is quiet and the kids are asleep, I take it out and read it again. The house still smells like Mom's pot roast sometimes. I know that's impossible, but I swear I can smell it, especially on Sundays. Life goes on. The mess gets cleaned up. The wounds heal mostly. But I learned something from all of this. Family isn't just blood. It's trust. It's showing up. It's being the person people can count on when everything falls apart. Kevin and Julie forgot that. I never will. And that's the difference. That's always been the difference. Update. 6 months after the funeral, I thought this story was over. I really did. But Kevin had other plans. 6 months after Dad passed, I got a letter. Not from Kevin directly. From a lawyer. Some guy named Preston Whitmore from a firm I'd never heard of. The letter claimed Kevin was contesting Dad's will. I read it 3 times before the words actually sank in. According to the letter, Kevin was arguing that Dad wasn't of sound mind when he changed the will, that I had manipulated him, that the evidence against Kevin was fabricated. He was suing me for half the estate. I called Julie immediately. "Did you know about this?" She sounded as shocked as I felt. "No. Kevin hasn't talked to me since he got out of prison." I had no idea. Well, apparently he found a lawyer willing to take the case. Can he even do that? He was convicted of breaking into the house. Doesn't that prove he was guilty? Apparently it doesn't matter. Anyone can sue anyone for anything. Whether they win is different. I hung up and called my own lawyer, guy named Dennis who'd helped me with the estate after Dad died. Dennis looked at the letter and sighed. "This is a Hail Mary," he said. "Kevin's got almost no chance of winning, but he can drag this out for years if he wants to. Cost you thousands in legal fees. Why would he do that?" Dennis shrugged. "Revenge, probably. Or desperation. Maybe he thinks you'll settle just to make it go away. Will I? That's up to you. But if you settle, he gets something. If you fight, you probably win, but it's going to be painful." I thought about it. Thought about Kevin sitting in some apartment somewhere, plotting this. Thought about how much it would cost, how much time it would take. How much energy I'd have to spend reliving the worst time of my family's life. Fight, I said. I'm not giving him a dime. The discovery phase was brutal. Kevin's lawyer demanded every document related to the estate, every email I'd ever sent my parents, every text message, every photo. They wanted medical records for both Mom and Dad going back years. They wanted statements from anyone who'd witnessed the family meetings. They were trying to build a case that Dad had dementia, that I'd taken advantage of him. The problem with their theory? Dad's doctor was willing to testify that Dad was sharp as a tack until the day he died. His lawyer confirmed Dad understood exactly what he was doing when he changed the will. The bank records showed Dad managing his own accounts competently right up until the end. Kevin's case was falling apart before it even started. But then something happened that I didn't expect. Kevin's lawyer found something. Remember how I said I'd installed a security camera in my parents' house? The one hidden in the bookshelf? Apparently that was a problem. In our state, you need consent to record someone in a private residence. I didn't have consent. I'd installed that camera without telling anyone. Kevin's lawyer argued that the video evidence against Kevin should be thrown out, that I had broken the law to gather it. And technically, he was right. My lawyer, Dennis, went pale when he saw the motion. This is bad, Nolan. How bad? If they get the video thrown out, Kevin's entire conviction could be appealed. He could argue he was convicted based on illegally obtained evidence, but he still broke into the house. They found his fingerprints. That's separate. But the original theft charges? The ones based on your video? Those could be challenged. I sat in Dennis's office feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. I'd done the right thing. I'd protected my parents. And now Kevin might get away with everything because of a technicality. The hearing was 3 weeks later. Kevin was there. First time I'd seen him since before he went to prison. He looked different. Older. Harder. He'd gained weight in prison and lost some of it since, but his face was still puffy. His eyes had this dead quality to them, like he'd given up on something fundamental inside himself. He didn't look at me when he walked in, just went straight to his seat at the defendant's table. His lawyer, this slick guy in an expensive suit, argued that my surveillance was illegal, that the video should never have been used, that Kevin's civil rights had been violated. My lawyer argued back, said I had an implied right to protect my elderly parents, that the theft was ongoing, that Kevin had forfeited his privacy rights by committing crimes in the home. The judge listened to both sides. Then he asked me a question. Mr. Brennan, did you install this camera with the intent to catch your brother committing crimes? I thought about lying, for just a second. Then I remembered Dad's letter, about being someone people could count on. Yes, Your Honor, I said. I suspected my brother was stealing from my parents. I installed the camera to gather evidence. And you did not inform your parents or your brother about this camera? No, Your Honor, I did not. The judge nodded slowly. Thank you for your honesty. He ruled in Kevin's favor on the video, said it couldn't be used as evidence in the will contest because it was obtained illegally. But he also said something else. However, the court notes that Mr. Kevin Brennan was subsequently convicted of felony burglary based on fingerprint evidence obtained through legal means. That conviction stands. And the court finds it highly relevant that the defendant broke into his parents' home to steal the very will he now claims was improperly executed. Kevin's face went white. Furthermore, the judge continued, the court has reviewed the medical records and testimonies provided. There is no credible evidence that Walter Brennan lacked the mental capacity to execute his will. The contest is denied. Kevin's lawyer tried to object. The judge shut him down. Case dismissed. Next, Kevin stood there for a moment, not moving. His lawyer was gathering papers, already thinking about the next case. Then Kevin turned and looked at me. The hatred in his eyes was absolute, complete. The kind of hatred that doesn't fade with time, the kind that only grows. This isn't over, he said quietly enough that only I could hear. Then he walked out. I thought maybe he was bluffing. Maybe losing the case had knocked some sense into him. I was wrong. 2 weeks later, someone slashed all 4 tires on my car. No witnesses, no cameras in that part of my neighborhood. A week after that, someone left a dead rat on my front porch. My kids found it when they went out to catch the school bus. My daughter screamed so loud the neighbors came running. Then the phone calls started, always from blocked numbers, always in the middle of the night, sometimes just breathing. Sometimes a voice that might have been Kevin's, might not have been, whispering things I don't want to repeat. My wife wanted to move, take the kids and go somewhere Kevin couldn't find us. But this was my parents' house, the house where I grew up, the house Dad had trusted me to protect. I wasn't going to let Kevin drive me out of my own home. I hired a security company, got cameras installed, real ones this time, with signs posted about surveillance. Got motion sensors on every door and window. Started varying my routine so Kevin couldn't predict where I'd be. Julie was terrified. "He's going to hurt someone," she said when she came over one Sunday. "I can feel it. He's not the same person anymore." "Was he ever?" I asked. Julie thought about it. "Maybe not," she said finally. "Maybe I just didn't want to see it." The harassment continued for 3 months. Small things, mostly. Eggs on the car, garbage dumped in the yard, pizza deliveries I never ordered showing up at all hours. Then it escalated. I came home one day and found my wife crying in the kitchen. She handed me her phone. Someone had sent her photos of our kids at school, at soccer practice, at their friends' houses. Dozens of photos taken from a distance, like someone was watching them. The message with the photos said, "I can get to them anytime I want." I called the police, showed them everything, the photos, the phone records from the harassing calls, the timeline of vandalism. The detective was sympathetic but honest. "Without proof it's Kevin, there's not much we can do. He'll deny everything, and even if we charge him, he'll make bail. You might just make him angrier." "So what am I supposed to do? Wait until he hurts someone?" The detective didn't have an answer. That night, after my wife and kids were asleep, I sat in Dad's office, my office now, looked at his photo on the desk. "What would you do, Dad?" No answer came, obviously, but I knew what I had to do. The next morning, I called Kevin's lawyer. "I want to meet with Kevin, just the two of us. No lawyers." Preston Whitmore sounded suspicious. Why would my client agree to that? "Because I have a proposal, one that could make his life a lot easier." There was a long pause. "I'll pass along the message." The meeting was at a coffee shop in a strip mall halfway between my house and Kevin's apartment. Neutral territory, public enough that he couldn't try anything. Kevin was already there when I arrived, sitting in a corner booth, his hands wrapped around a coffee cup. He looked worse than he had at the hearing, like he hadn't slept in weeks. I slid into the seat across from him. "Thanks for coming." Kevin just stared at me. "What do you want, Nolan?" "I want this to stop. The harassment, the stalking, all of it. I don't know what you're talking about." "Come on, Kevin. We both know it's you." Kevin's lip curled into something that might have been a smile. "Prove it." I leaned forward. "I could, eventually. And when I do, you'll go back to prison. For a lot longer this time. Is that what you want?" Kevin's jaw tightened. "What I want is what's mine. What I want is for you to stop pretending you're better than me. What I want is for our parents to have treated us the same. They did treat us the same. You just kept screwing up. That's easy for you to say. You were always the good one, the responsible one. I was just the screw-up, the disappointment. You have any idea what that's like?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "No," I said. "I don't. But I know stealing from Mom and Dad wasn't the answer. I know terrorizing my family isn't going to get you what you want." Kevin looked down at his coffee. "Then what will?" I pulled out an envelope and slid it across the table. Kevin eyed it suspiciously. "What's this?" "Open it." He did. Inside was a check, made out to Kevin Brennan, for $25,000. Kevin stared at it for a long time. "I don't understand." "Consider it severance," I said. "From the family. You take that check, you cash it, and you disappear. Move somewhere far away. Start over. But you leave me and my family alone. Forever." Kevin looked up at me. "You're buying me off. I'm giving you a chance. A real one. Take the money, get out of here, and make something of yourself. Or keep doing what you're doing and end up back in prison. Your choice." Kevin's hand was shaking as he held the check. "This doesn't make us even. I know. I still hate you. I know that too." Kevin folded the check and put it in his pocket. "If I find out you're tracking me or having me followed, I'm not. I just want you gone." Kevin stood up, looked down at me. "Fine," he said. "But I want you to know something. I'm not taking this because you're being generous. I'm taking it because I'm tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of losing. Tired of being the villain in everyone's story. Then stop being one, I said. Kevin laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. That's easy for you to say. You were never the villain. He walked out. I didn't watch him go. The check cleared 3 days later. A week after that, Julie called to tell me Kevin had posted on Facebook that he was moving to Nevada. Some job opportunity that had come up. I didn't ask questions. The harassment stopped immediately. No more dead rats, no more slashed tires, no more photos of my kids. My wife asked me what I did. I told her I made the problem go away. She didn't ask for details. She didn't want to know. A month later, I got one final message from Kevin. A text from a Nevada area code. I'm not going to thank you, but I'm not going to bother you anymore either. We're done. I didn't respond. That was 2 years ago. Kevin's still in Nevada, as far as I know. Julie says he got married. Some woman he met at a casino. They have a baby now. I don't know if he's changed. I don't know if he's happy. I don't really care. All I know is my family is safe. My kids are growing up without fear. My wife laughs again. That's worth $25,000. That's worth a lot more. Julie came over for Sunday dinner last week. She brought her boyfriend. Nice guy. Works as a nurse at the hospital where Mom spent her last days. After dinner, while the others were playing cards in the living room, Julie and I stepped out onto the back porch. Same porch where Mom used to sit and watch the sunset. Do you ever regret it? Julie asked. Regret what? Any of it. Finding out what we did? Telling Mom and Dad? Destroying the family? I thought about it. The family was already destroyed, I said. By you and Kevin. I just made everyone see it. Julie nodded slowly. I know, sometimes I wonder what would have happened if you'd never installed that camera. If you'd never started digging, then you and Kevin would have kept stealing. Mom and Dad would have died not knowing, and you'd probably still be doing it now. Julie flinched. That's harsh. It's true. She was quiet for a long moment. You know what the worst part is? I actually believe I would have stopped eventually. On my own. I was already feeling guilty. I was already thinking about telling them. But you didn't. No, I didn't. You beat me to it. Would you have? Really? Julie looked out at the yard. At the old oak tree with the rotting tire swing. I don't know, she said honestly. Maybe not. Maybe I would have kept going until there was nothing left to take. At least you can admit that now. Yeah, at least I can do that. We stood there in silence. The sun was setting behind the trees, painting everything in orange and pink. Thanks, Julie said finally. For what? For giving me a chance. For not writing me off completely. I know I didn't deserve it. No, I said, you didn't. But you did it anyway. I shrugged. You're my sister. You screwed up, but you owned it. You made things right. That counts for something. Julie wiped her eyes. I'm trying, she said. Every day. I'm trying. I know. We went back inside. Her boyfriend had won 3 hands of poker in a row. My kids were accusing him of cheating. Normal stuff. Family stuff. The kind of stuff we almost lost forever. Sometimes I walk through this house late at night, after everyone's asleep. I run my hands over the walls Dad painted, the door frames Mom measured us against, the kitchen where we had 1,000 meals together. This house has seen a lot. Joy and pain, laughter and tears, betrayal and redemption. But it's still standing, and so am I. Dad trusted me to protect this place, to protect this family. I think I've done okay. The end. Just kidding. One more update. Final update. 1 year later. You're probably wondering what happened to everyone. I know I would be. Kevin is still in Nevada. His wife left him last month, took the baby and moved back to her parents' place in Arizona. Julie heard through the family grapevine that he's drinking heavily again. Some people never change. Kevin's one of them. He called me once, about 3 months ago, drunk, crying, saying he was sorry, saying he wanted to come home. I told him there was nothing left for him here. He hung up, hasn't called since.